Heavy artillery shelling and explosion sounds were heard in Khartoum and Omdurman despite pooled international efforts to help stop the violence. The renewed fighting shattered a 7-day truce brokered by the US and Saudi Arabia and agreed to by the army and its rival, the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces. A joint statement from Washington and Riyadh warned that the warring parties did not observe the short-term ceasefire. Besides, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken cautioned both parties of possible sanctions if the latest ceasefire was not adhered to.
If the ceasefire is violated, we'll know, and we will hold violators accountable through our sanctions and other tools at our disposal. We facilitated the ceasefire, but it's the responsibility of the Sudanese armed forces and the Rapid Support Forces to implement it.
For his part, UN Human Rights Chief described the situation as heartbreaking, calling for an end to violence.
It's heartbreaking what is happening in Sudan. In spite of successive ceasefires, and they keep making these arrangements, we see that they get observed in their breach almost within hours after these arrangements are signed. We see how civilians continue to be exposed to serious risk of death and injury.
And despite ceasefire, aid workers say that the delivery of humanitarian aid remains slow, with many staff arriving at Port Sudan on the Red Sea coast and waiting for the security permits. More than 300,000 people have now fled Sudan to already impoverished neighboring countries, including Chad and Egypt, with the total number of people in need of help reaching 25 million people. It's worth recalling that hundreds of innocent lives were taken due to the conflict that broke out more than a month ago and forced more than 1 million people to flee violence.